good, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. For a straight pipe 4-cylinder. I don't know, man. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's pretty darn good. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. It is an absolutely gorgeous day out. I've toyed with this idea for the last couple of years of maybe parting ways with this car, but I haven't brought myself to it anyway to actually post it up for sale. I've had a couple offers here and there that almost went through, but I kind of chickened out, so still have the car, still works great. So I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on the Mazdaspeed platform in general, and how great these cars actually are, because that is probably the main reason why I'm having a hard time parting ways with this thing, because I've had it now for, well, this Halloween will be my 6th year with it, I believe, which is crazy to think about. Absolutely crazy. I'll put a picture in the video here of what this car looked like when I got it. Just bone stock on some black fast wheels or something like that. But that didn't last too long. Slowly started modifying it. If you guys look way back on my channel, way back, you can see all the little things. I pretty much recorded a video for every part or piece I put on this car. I wanted to document, and I still do want to document everything I do with this car, but we're at the point now where I've pretty much done everything to this car that I've wanted to. The way it sits right now is pretty much exactly what I had planned in my head when I got the car 6 years ago. I mean, there's always something else you can do to cars. There's always more and more you can do. Obviously, there's really never an end to a build. But I've pretty much gone to the limits of, there's kind of like levels here at the point I'm at where if I go any farther it gets really expensive, and pretty much the only things now to do that I would want to do is build the engine, double the power, just pretty much make an insane street car. I mean, this thing right now is a lot of fun on the streets. It's perfect for what I need. It's perfect for around where I live. Can't really, our roads aren't very long and they're not very smooth here, so this thing makes just shy of 400 horsepower, that range, probably 380-ish. I have videos on this channel explaining everything that's done to this car, all the mod lists, so I'm not going to go over all the mods that are done to this car, all the parts I've put on it. I'll just give a general overview kind of where this car is at right now. So it's a 2010 MAZDASPEED3 tech package, so it's got all the fancy steering, projector headlights and all that, and some bits on the interior that come with the tech package. It's got 123,000 kilometers, not miles. It's a Canadian car. Yeah, this is the original engine. As you can see, it's not very stock anymore, but upgraded turbo. If you own a Mazdaspeed, you already know that the KO4 never lasts. Never. There's no point really rebuilding it. Just upgrade to something else, because it's just going to cause you problems down the road. It always will. They're great turbos, they hold pretty good boost until they don't. So you can make some decent power off them. It's just the longevity of them is just garbage. So got rid of that when that started deteriorating. We got obviously high pressure fuel pump internals. That's a necessity. Full intake, blow off valve, recirculating, front mount intercooler, EGR delete, meth injection. The car sits on air suspension, airlift performance front bags and struts, and in the rear is their dominant engineering control arms. I don't know if you can see these or not. The green green control arms with universal bags in the back, so there's no sway bar in the rear anymore. It's just the control arm and the bag sitting right on top, and it's mounted to the plate on the control arm obviously, but there's no mount at the top because they're universal bags, and I couldn't figure out a way to get it to mount up where the factory spring goes, so it kind of just sits there, which works fine. But yeah, maybe something in the future to consider on figuring out a way to make that work. My air tank, just this laminate hardwood looking floor, and all the workings are underneath. So the Bose, I really like the sound system in these cars, so I kept the Bose subwoofer. What are these called? Vi-Air compressors. I forget the size on that, 444 maybe, or even smaller. You can see the 3P management right there. All the wiring harness, I made a little wood plate down there to hold everything and bolt it to. There is my AEM compressor for the meth injection. That's what sends it to the front of the car, sprays it into the throttle body. And I can close this properly. No, I can't. So that's that. Nice and clean under there. The tank there, obviously, with the reservoir. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the trunk. It makes the hatch of these pretty much useless, so that's the downside of air, I guess, in pretty much any vehicle, unless you want to do kind of like a hidden tank underneath sort of thing. But anyway, it looks fine. I don't daily this anymore, so it does make a great daily, these cars. I also drove this car one time in the winter when I got it, and it was phenomenal. Absolutely amazing in the snow. Couldn't believe it. The limited slip in the front, and the engine of the weight over the front axles of the front wheel drive with the LSD, just a great overall pairing. So it just plowed through snow. Anything that I needed it to get through at the stock height too, obviously. It worked great. So highly recommend using these in the snow if you do, but don't let the salt get to them. We got a lot of salt around here, so I stopped driving this in the winter time. And now it's kind of just a weekend car the way it is. There's so much money tied up in this thing. Nor do I want to put a whole bunch of kilometers on the engine. Like, I don't want, yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms right there. But that kind of leads me back to getting rid of this car. Getting rid of it is a harsh term to say. Selling it or trading it, maybe. I really could use the money from this car. It would help out with a lot of other things. I also have a lot of other cars, as you guys might have seen in my other videos. You see them in the background at the shop and at the house. So I have a lot of other cars that I picked up over the years that I would like to do something with. But having all the money tied up in this, and now that we own a house and a garage and everything, and there's more bills in that sense of being a homeowner, it's not as easy to put money into cars nowadays. That's for sure, but I still like to tinker around with them and do what I can when I have the extra funds. But I'm glad I got to build this car before we got our new house. It allowed me to make the bad financial decision to dump all my money and all my savings into this and the other cars that I have. And now I have this awesome street toy, weekend toy, fun, 4-door hatchback, just all around super great car. Like, that's the hard part about this. How do I get rid of a car that I've spent so much time and money and all the videos I've made with it? Like, I've had it for 6 years. I know people out there have had cars for like 10, 15 years, 20 years, whatever, but man, how do you get rid of a car that you have such a attachment to? If you guys have ever been in this position watching this video, let me know down in the comments. How do you make that next jump into actually posting the car for sale that you love so much and go forward with getting rid of it? So that's kind of where I'm at. It's super, super tough, man. This car is nothing but reliable for me. Nothing but reliable. Everything I've done to it, The car is tuned by Justin at Freak Tune. It runs flawlessly. It's been tuned by him for several years now, and no complaints at all, no issues. It's been running 25, 26 PSI for 3-4 years now on the Cork Sport turbo in the back there. Not a huge turbo, but it's super fun. I've got everything I want in this car. I don't drive, it's a weekend car, like I said. I don't drive it every day. I don't really drive it as much as I used to either. It kind of mostly just sits in the garage, and at this point it's kind of getting in the way as well of the garage space in general. It's just such a good car, man. It's just such a good car. Oh shit. Are just super easy to drive, super comfortable. And from the factory, they're already pretty fast. 263 horsepower, 280 some feet-pound of torque. So, I mean, they're pretty good right from the factory, but it doesn't take much to upgrade them either, really, so. Such a good car. How do I sell this, man? It works so good. It looks so good. It feels so good. Oh man, I wish money was no object. I would just keep this. Lot of DMs about people looking at Mazdaspeeds and whether or not they should buy one or not, or if it's a good idea. And my opinion on that is yes, it is a good idea to buy a Mazdaspeed. If you are considering jumping into this platform, I think for sure it's worth it. If you're looking into buying a Mazdaspeed, just do it, man. They're so good. Such fun cars. Lots of parts to buy for them. You can make some good power out of them, that's for sure. But yeah, to answer the question at hand, should you buy a Mazdaspeed or not, whether that's a first-gen Mazdaspeed 3, a second-gen Mazdaspeed 3 like this one, or a Mazdaspeed 6 even, I think yes to all three of those for sure. They're all great. Mazdaspeed 6, definitely a lot more rare nowadays than or a lot harder to come by than a Mazdaspeed 3. I mean, obviously there was less of them made, so that makes sense, but all of them are great cars, really. You can find one with low kilometers, decently low kilometers, in good shape, no rust. I think it's definitely worth the money. I'm super happy with mine, but there's also other cars I would love to get my hands on and start building as well. And pay off some bills, stuff like that, some adult things. And this car could fund a lot of that. A lot of those costs and fees and bills and other projects, so I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one for sure. I'd love to keep this car forever, build it up someday, do all the fun stuff, the expensive stuff, but also build lots of other things at the same time. So, but I'm gonna stop rambling here. You guys get the gist. Great cars. Should you buy one? Do it up. Do it tomorrow. Do it today. So to sum up this rambling nonsense of a video, whatever this ends up being, I think it's basically just me trying to talk myself into whether or not I'm keeping this car or if I can bring myself to sell it. But I still can't really figure out what I'm gonna do with it. I think I'll have to take the winter and decide, and come next season, before the summer starts, or the next car season I guess, decide then maybe. Or maybe that's just me pushing it off further and further, so I don't really know. Let me know down in the comments, like I said earlier, what you guys think I should do. Sell this or part it out even. I'm sure some of you guys would like some of the parts off this thing if I did. Or keep it forever and always have it around, build the engine in it someday, bigger turbo, port injection, new manifolds, all that fun stuff. But that would be that would be a big investment, and that's what I'm kind of torn on doing, because that's pretty much the next step with this car. Everything else that I wanted to do with it is pretty much done, so there's not really much else that I really want to do to this other than the engine stuff, like I said, like built block and port injection and tubed exhaust manifold, intake manifold, all those goodies. But I don't know. If anybody wants to buy this, hit me up. Message me on Instagram.